So Mike's idea is that he has 3 moving averages, right? And when they're all stacked on top of each other, in the correct order, then he wants an entry order to be placed on the fastest moving average here, which is a 10 EMA, and just trail that 10 EMA, right, until it gets picked up. Right? So yesterday in the BloodHound workshop, basically I showed him a video that, there's already been a BloodHound video that shows you how to identify when, 3 moving averages are stacked on top of each other in the correct order. So, so he'll use that to initiate the entry order there. So the remaining component, well, actually, I guess the first step here is, you would need to plug in the BloodHound signals for that. Yeah, let me take a moment to find that video again, and I'll actually plug that workshop into BlackBird. All right, we'll open the menu back up, and you can see right there where it says BloodHound Template, right? That's where you specify which BloodHound file that you want to use within BlackBird, and you use the ellipses button here to open up the BloodHound interface. So I'll click on that, right? And so here's the BloodHound interface, and next go to File, and let's go to Open, and there it is right there. All right, and let me just take a look at the logic templates, and there we go. So stacked EMAs. Now, admittedly, these are not the same moving averages that Mike wants to use, right? You can see it's using a 40, an 80, and then it's using, an 80 and a 120, right? So those would need to be adjusted. Now, just adjust the period of the EMA, for whatever period, moving averages you want to use, or maybe you want to use SMAs instead of EMAs, or an HMA, whatever moving average you want. Obviously, you just replace it within the BloodHound template there, to make it match up with exactly what you want. Oh, let's see. This is on a 15-minute time frame. Interesting. I did not realize that. So also, just a quick tip here, Mike. We'll need to take this off of the 15-minute time frame here, which is easy to do. So if we go to the solvers tab, right, there are the 2 comparison solvers, and you can just click the up arrow like that, right, and there you go, and it takes them off of the 15-minute time frame, and then that 15-minute time frame can just be deleted, right? So let's see, I'll just I don't want to change this historic template here, so let's see, let me do something quick here. Let me I'm going to hit the change button here, and that change button just brings up the save as. So let's see. Okay, so I've got the name changed there. Let's do a save. And all right, so now I can move those up. Delete that. All right. Normally I don't do all this because this is a BlackBird workshop, so I don't like getting tied up doing BloodHound stuff in the BlackBird workshop here. But since this is fairly simple to do, I can do this real quick. But you'll notice I'm also not offering a lot of explanation, so that's the downside to me doing this in the BlackBird workshop. Oh, I had two logic templates. Okay, one with the 15-minute and one was not a 15-minute. Okay. Well, oh well. I've already gone and changed it. All right, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm just going to leave it with, the current moving average settings like that, just so we can get through this here. So once you have your BloodHound template, set up correctly the way you want it to be set up, then the next step is let's select the entry signals. All right, so the stacked EMA is the entry signals, and that'll do it. So that's how we hook in our entry signals from BloodHound. And let me just pause it right there, and I'm going to reload the chart so that we can get BloodHound added to this chart. There. Now, of course, this is not going to match up perfectly since our EMAs are slightly different from the BloodHound template. So, yeah, you know what? I guess I'll just modify the EMAs on my chart to match the BloodHound template. So, there we go. All right. So this isn't exactly as Mike had emailed in, but again, we're here to learn how to use the software, learn the concepts and stuff. Obviously, changing the indicators, that's easy stuff to do. So, all right, so here we go. So now we can see, as long as these EMAs are stacked correctly, right, we're going to get basically continuous, signals out of BloodHound. And so this signal will initiate the entry order and place the entry order on the faster moving average. So let's go back over here. All right, so let's continue with setting up the entry order. Okay, so we have our BloodHound signals in. So next, let's start our order set. So we're going to use a limit order. All right, and so now we're going to open up our limit order and go into the initial placement. Okay, so we're going to open up the initial placement, and we want to place our limit entry order on that indicator, right, on the moving average. So we need to change the mode to an indicator value, right? So we want to use that EMA indicator value to set the price of our limit entry order. So we'll go into indicators and go down and select the EMA. All right, there's our EMA. And change the period to 40. And of course, Mike wants to use a 10-period EMA. And then also you have the option of kind of front running your moving average. So we could add a tick. We could place the order one tick above our moving average or one tick below the moving average. So if you wanted to do that, that's what the offset section is for. But we'll leave it at 0. And there we have it. That's basically it. That was really that is the main point of, oh, sorry, one last thing. So that was actually half of the question, setting up the initial placement, and then the critical part is setting up the trailing part, right? So obviously we want that entry order to keep following the moving average. So we need to go into the trailing actions here, and we're going to set up a custom trailing action, and then next we'll add a trailing rule, and Let's just put a name. We'll name this like so. So we're just going to follow the EMA 40. And so the only thing, let's see, there's two things we need to adjust actually, the action and the repeat. So the action, right, that is what moves the order, right, the action. So we're going to use the action of move an order to, right, so we want to move that entry order to whatever price the EMA changes to, right. So we're going to go into the move to and open up this menu, and again we need to change the mode to an indicator value, and again we're going to open up the indicator section, find the EMA, there's our EMA, change the period like so, and that was it. So there we go. So we just set up a trailing rule, you know, to keep moving the entry order, you know, to wherever that EMA goes to. And then the last step is to repeat, right? So obviously we want to keep repeating this trailing rule so that way the entry order keeps moving with the EMA as, you know, as the EMA keeps changing every bar. So we're going to change the repeat to indefinitely. All right. So there we go. And since this is an indicator, right? Indicators basically only update once per bar. So we're going to leave the repeat on once per bar. So we're just going to use the default settings here. So, and now we're done. So there we go. So that was it. So let's test this out. All right. So when this closes, there you go. I think, well, hopefully the market will work with us and I don't have to wait too long. Oh, also I need to turn on the auto trailing. Sorry. Yeah. So if you wanted to automate this, you know, so yeah, I guess let me add some clarification here while we're kind of waiting for the market to, you know, close that bar. So you only need to add the BloodHound signals, you know, if you want to automate this, you know, right? So if you want the, you know, the BloodHound signals here to, you know, initially place, you know, your entry order there. So if you want to take over, if you want to discretionarily, you know, decide when and where, you know, you want to take these bounce trades here. Oh, there we go. So hold on. So there is our limit order there. So back to what I was saying. So if you want to, you know, discretionarily decide, you know, when you want to kind of trade these pullback trades here, you know, then you don't need BloodHound, and you can just manually use the go long and go short buttons, you know, if you want to be the person to decide that, you know, yeah, it looks like, you know, the market action looks like it's trending, so yeah, I'll take a trade during, you know, during this trend. And so you can just manually use the buttons there to do that. So and there we go. So we got a fill. Yeah. So again, just to be clear, you know, if you want to manually decide when you want to take these pullback trades or these bounce trades, then you don't need BloodHound at all to do that. You know, you can just use the go long and go short buttons. So let's see. All right, and the second part here. So Mike had emailed in an additional requirement, which really changes everything. Yeah, so Mike wanted to limit the number of trades to 2 per trend direction, right? So, so for example, let's see. Let's stretch this open a little bit. All right, so here's our long trend starting. So so this area here would definitely get you into one trade, and who knows how long that trade's going to last. Where there was no profit target specified. So let's just say a profit target was taken over here. So I'll just kind of draw some lines, right? So we would get into the trade there, and maybe there was a profit target. So you get out right there. And so then, there's more long signals from BloodHound. So it looks like probably might get filled there. It's kind of hard to tell. You never know if that actually would fill you or not, but probably. And then maybe, another trade or target gets hit right there. And then definitely, we get filled there, and so on and so forth. Right? So we can see that, if you want to fully automate this, every time the trade is closed out, by the profit target or the stop loss getting hit, right? Then since the BloodHound signals are continuous, then BloodHound, the signals are just going to keep replacing the entry order, right? So a new entry order is just going to constantly keep being submitted, right, onto that EMA continuously. And it looks like that would be the last one so far. Well, except for this one here. So, so here we are. So we don't know where this is going. So, so this would be the fourth trade, within this long trend. And Mike wants to limit it to 2. So in order to limit this to 2, in a fully automated fashion, then you need to control the BloodHound signals. So the BloodHound signals basically need to turn off whenever, the market pulls back and hits your fast-moving average for the second time, and then turn off the signals. Right. So since this is not a BloodHound workshop, we're not going to get into that today. But Michael, if you want to, if you want to see that in next week's workshop, we can definitely do that. What I would ask is, if you have other criteria that you haven't divulged yet, then I would appreciate it if you would kind of consolidate all of these requirements here into a new email, so that way I have all the rules in place in one spot, just to help everybody else here. If you kind of piecemeal an idea out to us, then you're probably not going to get the correct answer right off the bat. So when you do want help kind of putting a system together, it's best to write everything down all in the first email. That way we can get you the proper correct answer here. So because the original email, just to use Mike as an example here, Mike's original email was just simply asking, how do I detect when moving averages are stacked? Well, so here you go. But now, once you throw in, what seems like a simple requirement of, let's limit this to only 2 trades per trend direction, that changes the BloodHound logic completely, right? So it is critical that if you want your system idea answered correctly the first time, then always send in all the information, the whole concept of what you're wanting to trade, right? The whole trading idea. So that way, that way you'll get the correct answer the first time.